Hello, and welcome to today's workshop, The 6 Pillars of Digital Campaigns with Dan Grech. This is the 8th session of the Riverview Credit Union Mid-Ohio Valley Entrepreneurship Expo at Marietta College. As we get started, I would first like to take a moment to thank this year's Mid-Ohio Valley Entrepreneurship Expo title sponsor, the Riverview Credit Union, as well as our in-kind platinum sponsor, Clutch MOVEE, our gold sponsors, the Swindeman Agency and McDonough Foundation, our silver sponsors, Premier Bank and Tech Growth Ohio, and our bronze sponsors, Trademark Solutions and Tenney and Associates. Next, I would like to share that the 9th session will be on Thursday, March 11th at 4:30 p.m. The March 11th event is round 1 of the PioBiz competition entitled Problem Solution. We invite community members to attend and hear from Marietta College students participating in the competition as they introduce their product or service and describe how it solves a problem better than other products or services currently on the marketplace. Attendees will also have a chance to vote for their favorite product or service. Finally, I would like to introduce myself and today's presenter. My name is Heather Miller. I'm an adjunct faculty member here at Marietta College, and I'm assisting in the entrepreneurship program this spring. I am joined by today's presenter, Dan Grech. Dan is the founder and CEO of BizHack Academy, which trains small business owners around the world in the BizHack leading building system. Dan has worked as the head of digital marketing at 2 software startups and the nation's largest Hispanic-owned energy company. Before becoming a business storyteller, Dan spent 2 decades as a journalist. He has also taught at top universities, including Princeton, Columbia, and University of Miami. Dan is a graduate of Princeton University and has 2 master's degrees in storytelling and Spanish language journalism. He's a dual citizen of the U.S. and Spain. He's a father of 2. His wife, Gretchen Biesing, is the CEO of Catalyst Miami, and he was part of an improv comedy troupe for more than a decade. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. So today we're going to talk about the 6 pillars of digital campaigns, which are part of what BizHack calls the lead building system. This is a systematic approach for generating leads for your business. What is a lead? A lead is a contact. It's a person's email address and phone number. It's a prospective customer. That's what we in marketing speak call a lead. So today we're going to talk about the 6 pillars of all lead generation efforts for a business, and then the lead building system, which is a systematic, proven approach for any business, B2B, B2C, B2G, large or small, to actually go about finding their ideal customer online and getting them to raise their hand and say, I want to do business with you. A little bit more about me. I am a business storyteller. I spent more than 15 years with NPR, PBS, The Washington Post, Miami Herald. What I specialize in is business storytelling. I was also the head of a billion-dollar energy company, and I grew several startups, including a B2B software as a service company, from pre-revenue to an exit within 2 years. I'm a Princeton undergrad, an FIU master's, and a Fulbright scholar. So what are we here to do today? The first is we're going to talk about the lead building system. This is a systematic approach to generating new business online for your business. It applies to any business, large or small. So it's a great framework for thinking about the business. We're going to offer you case studies of the LBS in action, and we're going to provide you a very clear roadmap of how to get started with selling to strangers online. The challenge that many of you face is that small businesses are limited in time, money, and expertise. This is the hardest case in all of marketing. You don't have the money to hire someone really proven to do this for you. Your budget is relatively limited, and so your pickings can often be relatively slim. You often don't have the time to do it yourself or learn how to do it yourself, and your expertise is limited because most business owners are, as they say in the E-Myth, technicians rather than marketers or entrepreneurs. A lot of you know how to do the thing that you do. So for instance, if you are a baker, you start a bakery. I am an educator, I start a school. A lot of us are not marketers by trade, and therefore marketing is something we need to learn, kind of like how to read a financial statement. Very few accountants actually start their own businesses. Mostly the people who start businesses are the people who do the thing that the business provides, and then they have to learn the accounting and learn the marketing on the back end. One of the sets of questions we often hear from business owners is who to hire, how to measure success, where in the world to start. And the reason why it's really hard to know where to start is because if you look at this graphic from Gartner, one of the leading think tanks for businesses, you can see that Gartner has mapped the actual complexity of digital marketing. So if you think digital marketing seems complex and you're not sure where to start, I get it. I've felt that way. I've been in your shoes. And if you look at this graphic, you can understand why you might feel that way. That graphic has no center. Digital marketing hub that you see there at the bottom, that doesn't really help you in terms of where to get started. Do you start therefore with site retargeting? No. What is site retargeting? So this is the problem that a lot of the business owners that we work with face, is they just don't know where to get started, who to trust, who to hire, how to even measure success. They don't even know what success looks like, let alone how to measure it. So what business owners really need is a trusted partner, a proven system, and then implementation support. So once it's clear where to start, then actually getting started and getting your hand held as you get started is critical. And there are lots of folks out there who provide this to business owners, and BizHack is one of those trusted partners. We're very proud of the more than 1,000 businesses that we've worked with to do this exact thing. The goal is for it to be as universally applicable as possible, as systematic as possible, and as easy to understand as possible. It's called the lead building system. It has 6 pillars, a foundation, and 9 steps. We've built this system from the ground up after having worked with near 1,000 businesses, both Fortune 500 companies and many, many small businesses like Ascend Dance Studios, which is a small dance studio near Miami, Florida, that has actually been highlighted in national ad campaigns for Google and Facebook since they actually worked with BizHack and got their marketing on track. They're a small dance studio owned by a husband and wife, and they're very typical of the kind of businesses that we typically work with. So what is the lead building system? The foundation is your why. That's your business story. But what we talk about when we talk about the business story is, what is your deeply personal motivation for starting your business, or if you work for someone else, for working in the business where you work. So if you're an educator, why are you an educator? And what we have found is that a lot of times these stories have deep roots in our history, that we often work in jobs that harken back to lessons that we learned in our childhood. So we work through discovery to help understand why people run the business, why they do what they do. And once you have a clear understanding of why you do, what your business story is, what your core values are, that becomes the solid foundation for your business and for your marketing. If you don't understand your business story and you don't know how to tell it, you cannot effectively market yourself. Once you've figured out your business story, there are 6 pillars for every digital campaign. In fact, this is true of any marketing campaign, whether it's digital or non, whether it's a flyer, a billboard on the highway, a truck that you've covered in your own advertising, a Facebook ad. You need to have a campaign objective, a target audience, an irresistible offer, a thumb-stopping video, compelling message, and a call to action. Now that you understand the strategic framework for doing this, what you need to do next is you need to actually put this into action. And we recommend you start by running a simple, low-cost Facebook ad campaign. And there's a 9-step process to implementing the 6 pillars and the foundation into your campaign. We call this the 9-step process, and it really boils down to running an ad and then running another ad. And this is really what our paid programs do, is we take business owners and we run them through this 9-step process using the framework of the lead building system to guide them through that process. Once you've run through the 9 steps for a Facebook ad, you can then wash, rinse, repeat, and apply this to any marketing campaign that you might want to run. It's a lot of work. And a lot of folks basically have a spray and pray or throw spaghetti against the wall sort of approach to their marketing, which is why many of you do not have success, because there's a ton of thought and a ton of planning for what happens before, during, and after a campaign. And if you don't put in that work, you're very unlikely to get success. And if you expect success overnight without this kind of pre-planning, your expectations are rarely going to be met. This is how the big boys do it. This is how the Fortune 500 companies market. This is how marketing departments with multi-million-dollar a month budgets market. But we've boiled it down to its essence. We've made it as basic and simple as possible. And this is the approach that we now educate hundreds of small businesses on how to do, and often with really fabulous results. So in 2019, we trained 112 small businesses on this process. They spent a total of $17,000 in ads and made more than $500,000 in incremental revenue. That's a 29-to-1 return on ad spend. These are extraordinary results, as anyone in marketing can tell you. And these are results that business owners themselves were able to achieve by following a simple process. One of the lessons in this is that nobody knows a business better than the business owner. And so if they're given the tools and a simple process to follow, they can have extraordinary results. And this is over the course of just 5 weeks. Not only did this course pay for itself, but a lot of these folks were able to take this and build on it into the future. So that's the promise. That's the power of this system. And what I'm going to go through is exactly what the system is. And I hope all of you apply this in your own businesses, use this systematic approach, because you will get results. And you don't necessarily need someone to help you do that. You can do this on your own. Many people do very successfully. It's really just a matter of knowing what things to worry about. A lot of times people will come to me and they'll say, how often should I post on Instagram? And then I say to them, okay, have you ever generated a lead from Instagram? They say, well, no, but I get lots of followers and likes. I said, well, does that translate to your bottom line? They say, no. I said, do you see a path to how that could translate to your bottom line? They say, no. I say, do you have all the time in the world? Because what are you doing? Why are you spending time on activities that will not translate to revenue ever for you? They stop and they think, and then they say, well, what should I do? And I say, well, why don't you use Instagram as a lead generating mechanism for you? And let's talk about how you can do that. That's the kind of shift in thinking I'm trying to encourage. For small business owners, especially where you're really limited on time and money, you need to be really thoughtful about how you spend your time online. So I'm going to give you guys a couple examples of businesses that have really used a more systematic approach to their marketing and had a lot of success. So in the home services space, Mosquito Joe is a pest control company based here in Miami, which is where I'm based. They spent $1,100 in ads while they were going through the 9-step process, and they generated a little bit over $1,000 in revenue. And you'll look at that and you'll say, well, they made less than they spent. And that's absolutely true. In fact, a lot of times when you're running ads, the initial revenue that you generate does not meet your ad spend. And a lot of beginning marketers say, oh, this was a failure. This was not a success. Well, it turns out that what Yoel at Mosquito Joe sells is a subscription product. The average subscriber uses his service for 6 months. And so even though the initial revenue for the first treatment was $1,000, the projected revenue based on averages for what they've seen in the past was $30,000. And suddenly you take a campaign that was underwater and now it's having a 30-to-1 return on investment. That's an important lesson. You don't look at the first sale, you look at the lifetime value of a customer when you're determining whether a campaign is working or not. The lifetime value of a customer is what is the likely net income that you're going to make, the profit you're going to make off of a customer over the entire lifetime that they do business with you. You take how much revenue you'll get from them, you subtract out the cost of providing them the good or service, and that's their lifetime value. And that is what sets your marketing budget, not the first sale. If you sell a low cost product, let's say like a bar of soap, but you expect that the average person who buys that bar of soap will keep coming back repetitively, that gives you more of a marketing budget. The idea is that you're trading dollars today in advertising for longer term sustained revenue, and you're going to spend $1 now to make $30 over the course of the next 6 months. That's the exchange that you all made, and any business owner worth their salt would make that exchange. Another example are educators. So this is actually a school based in San Jorge, which is based in Mexico, Tijuana, Mexico. They use this technique to triple their enrollment year over year, and that generated over the course of the 8 years of enrollment of their average student more than $1.4 million in additional tuition. The numbers are huge, but if you think about it, every new enrollment can have a massive long-term impact for the business. So it's really an extraordinary return. And here's yet another example. This is a personal services business, in this case, health wellness, a dental office. What I found really compelling about this example is that Angela used Facebook bot advertising to basically have a automated set of conversations with people who messaged her using Facebook Messenger. And in that way, she was able to qualify people. So the first question they said, do you prefer English or Spanish? She's based in Miami. And so perhaps not surprisingly, a lot of people preferred Spanish. And then it asked them, what service are you looking for? Are you looking for teeth whitening? Are you looking for other kind of dental services? And they then knew how to best respond and to qualify the lead. She spent a little bit under $3,000 $100,000 in ads and made $150,000 in revenue in a matter of weeks. And she also generated a tremendous number of referrals where people were inviting their friends to participate as well. I wanted to share this quick video with you, which is actually of Angela's father, who came to a graduation and talked a little bit about, the power of the system on his business.
We've done TV, we've done radio, I'm in the BNI chapter. I'm looking for business everywhere. I'm like a little radar looking for business for my company. Because I got employees and I like to go on vacation and I got to pay the rent. So anyways, so we took this course and this has been a game changer for my business. I mean, look into it. You guys have just finished a course. Keep on pounding it because it is out there. And the funny thing is that none of your competitors is doing anything like this. So go jump on it because I'm going to keep putting money into it. You get my return up, right?
Exactly.
So I highly recommend it. I'm very excited about it. I told my daughter, look, I want to go to the graduation. Because I'm so grateful. And thank you very much, Dan. I love you, brother.
I love this video. It makes me smile every time I see it. It also makes me, frankly, a little bit wistful for the days of when we could have in-person graduations like that. I'm sure all the educators miss that. All right, so let's talk about that foundation. We talked about the foundation, the pillars, and the steps. So the foundation is your business story. You may or may not know this, but IBM has a person who reports directly to the CEO that they call their chief storyteller. His name is Louis Richardson. I have 1 degree of remove from him on LinkedIn. I've never had the guts to actually contact him. But what Louis Richardson says is that with Watson being such a magical technology, IBM, one of the largest B2B tech companies in the world, is now in the business of stories. No longer is it about selling things. But it's not just IBM, a classic B2B company. You have Microsoft, who sells software, GE, SAP, Nike, in fact, hired their first chief storytelling officer in the 1990s. They sell shoes. So whether you're selling consumer products like shoes, selling software like Microsoft, selling B2B services like IBM or GE or SAP, storytelling is essential it's a core function of the business, and all of them have elevated chief storytellers to the head of their office. You, as the business owner, are your company's chief storyteller. You, as an employee for the company, should see yourself, put yourself in the owner's shoes. You should see yourself as a chief storyteller because everything you do in business is about storytelling. Leading is about storytelling. Simon Sinek, who talks about the power of why, that's a storytelling methodology. Raising capital from banks or investors is storytelling. The 3 C's of capital. C for character. Character is about story. You as the business owner, are you trustworthy? Are you going to make sure this business succeeds no matter what? Are you going to pay the bank back? That is storytelling. That is character. Raising capital from investors. The number one thing they look at is the team. Does the team have a track record? Do I believe that they can actually accomplish their vision? Sales is storytelling. Telling the stories of customers and customer successes and also the reason that the business does what it does, its values. And then, of course, advertising and marketing is storytelling. Business is storytelling, and all of you, no matter what role you play, are the chief storyteller. So we talk about the business story, and it's the foundation of your marketing. And we call the communications diamond your business story. So I'm holding a fist. This is a diamond. You can see right now that I have a ring, and that ring, it's from my alma mater, Princeton, shines depending on what angle you look at it. The core of a diamond is rock solid and it never changes. But depending on what angle you look, you may or may not see a certain facet of that diamond. That is a very powerful metaphor for marketing. You have your core business story, which is why you do what you do. It's your core values. They do not change. They're true yesterday, today, and tomorrow. But then depending on who you're talking to, whether it's a sales prospect or a customer or somebody who you'd like to hire, you show a different facet of your business. And that's really what it's all about. Marketing is about showing different aspects of your business story depending on who the audience is. So if you have that solid foundation, then you can use Instagram or your website or LinkedIn or a flyer or your signage on your store to then tell that message of your business story. But if you don't know your business story cold, you cannot be successful as a business. You cannot be successful as a marketer. So how do you figure out your business story? Well, we have an exercise that we use called the why chain, which is where you sit together and you ask the business owner, why do you do what you do? And why is that important to you? Was there someone in your life who taught you to value those things? And these are the reason this why chain exercise is really critical to unlocking the power of your business story and to discovering that business story. The core purpose, the why you do what you do. Simon Sinek, who's really popularized this idea, says that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And he's put that into a TED Talk, he's put it into a book, and he's created something called the golden circle. You start with why rather than with what. Most business owners, when they ask, what do you do? You say, oh, I do this, I create this widget, I make shoes. How do you do it? Oh, we have these processes, it's all natural, etc. And why do you do it? We want to make sure that people have the ability to be mobile and live good lifestyles. Versus, why do you do what we do? We've created a company that is dedicated to helping people stay in motion, stay healthy, and live the best version of their lives. How we do this is we use all natural ingredients and a process that is sustainable and good for the environment and good for our customers. What do? We sell shoes. Same story, flipped in reverse, far more effective in the second, where you start with why versus start with what. And all the best companies in the world, Apple, Nike, IBM, all of them take this approach. And so then you become not just a customer, but a raving fan. So BizHack's why is that we champion the underdogs so you can thrive. Whether you're a student or a business owner, we are here to help you make the most of your life, of your career, of your business, so that you can do good for others. One of the things that we love is vet every company we work with and make sure that they have a social mission, that they're doing good in the world, so that when we help them succeed, our impact is all the customers that they gain to do their greatness. Our what is we do this through content, coaching, and community. That's the product. And our how is storytelling, strategy, and software. So as I mentioned, there's this why chain exercise. What was your passion or purpose in starting the company? And it's really a set of questions. Why is it important? Why does this matter? What we have found is that when people go through this exercise, what they usually come to is a story from their childhood. Someone who taught them to value something that they now carry forward in their life. And so I'd invite all of you guys to think, what is your motivation for your major, for the business that you run? Why do you do what you do? You have so many choices about what you do in this world. Why did you choose that? Why was that the thing that you chose to do? And what I'm going to do is I'll share with you a couple of examples that I hope you'll find inspiring as you're thinking about your why. As I mentioned, it's often an anecdote from your life. And then what you have to do is you have to connect the story of me, the personal reason that you do it, with the story of us, which is what your customers are facing and looking to do. I'm going to share with you now, while you're thinking about your own stories, an example from Howard Schultz of Starbucks. This is a really beautiful example of how you can use the story of me in a business setting.
My father was a World War II veteran, high school dropout, and came back from the war with yellow fever, and unfortunately ended up really not realizing the aspiration of the American dream he thought he was going to come home to after the war. He was a delivery driver picking up and delivering cloth diapers before the invention of Pampers. And in March of 1960, on a delivery, he fell on a sheet of ice and fractured his ankle and broke his hip. The injury caused him to get fired. No workman's compensation, obviously no health insurance. When I was 7 years old, I literally came home from school, opened the apartment door, and saw my father laid out on a couch with a cast from his hip to his ankle. Listen, at the age of 7, how could I possibly understand the impact that would have on me, but it scarred me to watch and witness my parents and my mother just go through such a hard time.
So I want to pause there for a sec, because right now we are talking about a guy who sells overpriced lattes. And when you look at the story that he's told so far about growing up poor and his dad breaking his hip, you might be like, what the heck does that have to do with Starbucks? And watch what he's able to do here in just a matter of a couple sentences, less than 30 seconds, about less than 50 words, how he's able to connect that with the core values of a Fortune 100 company, and take that story of me about growing up poor with a dad who gets injured and gets left behind and turns it into a story of us, which is the seed of what turned, a single coffee shop in Seattle into a global behemoth.
As I got older, I think I've always been sensitized to people living on the other side of the tracks. And as Starbucks evolved, I think I was trying to build the kind of company my father never got a chance to work for. A company that would try and balance profit with conscience.
Profit with conscience. I love that framing. I love that term. And honestly, who among us wouldn't want to create a company that balances profit with conscience? I really encourage you guys to listen to this podcast. It's Masters of Scale. And he talks a lot in this hour-long episode about how you build a company that balances profit with conscience. So it's not just enough to say, I have a vision or I have a value of doing this. He actually put it into practice through very specific policies and behaviors. But it all came back to that personal story that happened to him as a kid, and then how this very talented communicator and CEO then communicated that to his audience. It's for you that you're sharing your story, because ultimately, whatever you put out there, it's the starting point, it's the seed to something even better. Once you have your business story, you can put it on your Facebook business page. On business pages, they have an about section where you can tell the story of your business. You can put it on your LinkedIn profile. Before you get to your resume, you have a section where you can talk about your personal motivation for running your business. You can put it on your website in the form of a video or a little text like here. And you can put it in business directories. We've created a business directory for all of the businesses that are part of the BizHack program. And we invite those businesses not to tell the story of themselves, not to tell the story of their product, but to tell their personal story and why they're motivated to do what they do. So I'll give you a few examples of that. So Gabriel Velez, who is in the business directory, talked about when he was 2 years old, he lost his father and his little sister and was raised by his mother. And that gratitude that he feels for his mother is what has led him to create a line of candles and other products called Heaven of Joy that's specifically geared for women. So that's a really beautiful example of Gabriel giving back to his mother who raised him after the tragic death of his father and sister. Cristobal Giddy, who runs a karate studio, talked about how his father taught him karate as a kid back in their native Chile. They moved to the United States and his dad started a karate dojo near Miami. And then Cristobal, when he was 28, his father called him. My father was dying of lung cancer and he wanted me to take over the dojo. So Cristobal at that time was working at a server farm. He had no intention of doing karate. Karate was just something he kind of grew up around. And now suddenly he was being given this albatross, if you will, of taking over his dad's karate dojo. And what you can see here is that Cristobal then talked about how he now runs a karate studio with the values that his father taught him of an unbending will and an undying commitment to my students. And then he said, now more than ever, we need to train our bodies and minds to endure, and I am here to serve you. I love what he does here because he takes this story of being asked to take over something from his father when he was 28, and he's turned it into his life's mission to carry forward his dad's legacy moving forward. Are you noticing here how, whether it's the founder of Starbucks who's talking about a lesson from his childhood that he's trying to counteract, the lesson of being abandoned by the business, he wants to create a business that has a conscience, to Cristobal taking his father's legacy and carrying it forward, to Gabriel who's taking his mother and creating a business to pamper mothers just like her. Another great example, we talked about shoes earlier today. Byron Kibort of the Runner's High, he sells high-end shoes for runners. A lot of people who run businesses like that, they're really about elite performance. performance. Well, Byron's all about comfort. And I asked him, like, why do you run a comfort shoe store, not a elite performance shoe store? Even though you're a runner, you seem to be really interested in people with disabilities. And he said, well, my mother had a disability. She had multiple sclerosis, but she was a Mary Kay salesman, and she would load her wheelchair into the back of her car, and she was the most successful Mary Kay salesperson in the entire region. And I said, well, let's connect that. Like, do you think it's an accident that you had a mother with a movement disability and now you've run a store that caters to people with movement disabilities? And he's like, gosh, I had never thought about that. In 30 years running this business, he had never thought once about why he was running a comfort shoe store. I come across this all the time. It's kind of like remarkable because I know I'm really providing incredible value when I'm able to help unearth the story, but it kind of mystifies me as well. Like, Byron, did you never stop and ask yourself, like, why am I running a shoe store? Why this of all the things? You know, why am I motivated to do this when it's really hard and it can be really challenging work? A lot of business owners are going so fast and working so hard, they don't stop to think about why they do what they do. And that's one of the things that I love to do the most as a storyteller, a journalist, someone who has studied this, is to really help business owners get in touch with their story. Let's now talk about the 6 pillars. So the 6 pillars, as we mentioned, are objective, audience, offer, video, message, and call to action. We're going to go through all of them now. We're going to use a Facebook ad as a learning tool. What we have found is that Facebook is a great place to get started in learning about digital marketing. Just like learning ballet is a great place to get started with dance, and learning your scales on a piano is a great way to get started if you want to be a flute player or play the guitar. So first, I want to make sure you all understand what an ad is on Facebook. And there are 3 types of ways that you can kind of promote yourself on Facebook. There are actually more than 3, but there's an organic post. That's a post that you put, it's like a status update. You do it for free. There's a boosted post where you take the organic post and you have it have larger reach. And then there's an ad, which is built in a completely different section of Facebook. It's a completely different thing than an organic post and its boost. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking they've run ads on Facebook when really all you've done is boosted posts, and that is not an ad. So again, the organic post is just like a status update from your business page. The problem is nobody is seeing organic posts. Back in 2012, if you had 100 followers, about 16 of them on average would see your post. Today, that number is closer to 2. So if you've noticed that when you post on Facebook, nobody likes or shares or reacts to it, it's because Facebook isn't showing it to anybody. Facebook has become a pay-to-play platform. So a lot of people take that and they just boost it. And all that boosting does is it gets you back to 2012. It gets you more reach. But a boost is not nearly as effective or powerful as an ad. You can see here in this column that ads do a heck of a lot more than boosted posts. They give you a lot more power and they don't cost any extra. They're just frankly a little harder to do. A couple of the things that ads have that boosts don't is they have a call to action button. They actually allow you to have a short punchy headline underneath the image, and they allow you for much more powerful targeting than what's allowed for in a boost. So now that we understand what a Facebook ad is as our learning tool, I'm going to then share with you the story of a dance studio, Ascend Dance Studios, we talked about earlier, that has then used Facebook ads to help drive new customers to their summer camp. So Ascend Dance Studios is run by Raphael and Valentina. They are near Miami, Florida. It's for teenage girls, basically. And they were having a problem, which is their summer camp was empty in the late summer. This is pre-COVID, this case study, just so you know. Their enrollment in their summer camp in late July and August was less than 50%. So what they were seeing is that people were signing up for the beginning weeks and then dropping off. So what we did is we worked with Ascend Dance to help them develop a multi-pronged strategy for driving more attendance at their dance camp. First thing is they created a free trial class called Move with the Minions. This is where like little Minions characters would be dancing along with prospects, and it was for free. They offered significant discounts for people who bought multi-week packages. They promoted all of this on Facebook and their website. They ran Facebook ads. They ran Google ads. They had a referral program encouraging parents to send their kids with friends. And they started doing a lot on social media. Actually, back when they ran this, it was something called Musical.ly. It's now called TikTok. So they were basically encouraging kids to post on the predecessor of TikTok to help create FOMO among 14-year-old girls. One thing you need to know about Facebook is you cannot run ads targeting people under age 18. So when they wanted to reach their ideal target audience of teenage girls, they had to use other mechanisms, in this case, Musical.ly, now known as TikTok. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at their Facebook ad campaign from the image of the 6 pillars, starting with the campaign objective. Your objective when you're you're marketing online is to generate leads, and a lead is an email and a cell phone number. So what you're really trying to do with all of your online marketing is get people to give you their contact information so you can follow up with them. Your objective, that's called a lead. The list of people who you have is your prospect list. And this list of people is incredibly powerful for a variety of reasons. Not only are these people who you can email or you can call, but you can also upload this list of potential customers into Facebook, into Google, into LinkedIn, into TikTok, and then those platforms will match your prospect list with people inside of their system, and you can actually advertise, run targeted ads that specifically focus your prospects. This is called a custom audience in Facebook or a customer match audience in Google. So not only having their email address allows you to email them, it really unlocks the power of custom audiences when you're advertising. You can say, well, a lot of people don't pick up my phone calls anymore, and that's true as well. I've noticed actually 76%, according to the data, of calls from an unknown number are not answered, but you can still text them. You can also WhatsApp them. WhatsApp is actually 50% larger than text message worldwide. So WhatsApp has become incredibly powerful as a marketing channel. And then because cell phone numbers rarely change, a lot of times people will attach a cell phone number to their Facebook account, and that allows Facebook to match the phone number to an advertising profile and allow you to advertise to them as well. So just to clarify, when you have a list of customers, emails, and phone numbers, and you upload that to Facebook, Facebook doesn't actually take that data. All they do is they use a system that matches it with their database of emails and phone numbers. And if there are any matches, they create what's called a custom audience based off of that. And then you can advertise to that custom audience. You're not actually giving away the private information of your customers. All you do is matching Facebook advertising profile to your customer list. It's an incredibly powerful tool that many, many small businesses are using, and you should use too. Now, when you're setting your campaign objective, it's another way of saying that is, how do you measure the success of your campaign? For me, when you're advertising, when you're running campaigns online, you should be able to draw a line between that activity and bottom line results. The problem is there's so much data, it can be sometimes messy or muddy to make that attribution. And just in the case of Facebook, which is one of the examples we're talking about, there is 4 different data dashboards that live inside of Facebook that you can draw data from: Ads Manager, Facebook Insights, Facebook Analytics, and Events Manager. So no wonder so many of us feel overwhelmed by this information. For many people, this stops them from feeling like they're able to measure the success of their campaign. But really, at a high level, if you are able to generate leads from your online activities, if you're able to convert them into sales, you're doing the right thing. And that is the ultimate measure of success. Now, when you're starting out a Facebook ad campaign, they invite you to choose a goal. And by choosing a goal, you're essentially setting the metric for that goal. We recommend get more leads as an objective. It's a little bit more expensive than other objectives, but it will get you email addresses and phone numbers, which, as we said, are marketing gold. The lead form that you get from a lead generation objective is actually built into the ad. So you get the ad and then you click and you get a form like this. So the campaign objective in this case was to get parents to buy a multi-week pack. And the way that they did that was to get them to either sign up for the trial or to call that phone number. So that was their campaign objective. Next is your target audience. When you're dealing with any advertising campaign, you cannot advertise to the whole world. You have to pick a set of your audience that you think will be most receptive. And that's called segmentation. And so the segmentation process is dividing up your customers into different definable, findable, profitable, growth potential groups. And I add that you enjoy serving, because if you're a business owner, what is the point of serving an audience that you don't enjoy? Another way to think about segmentation is there are 4 key questions you ask to help define your audience: where, who, what, and why. Where do they live? Geographic. Who are they? Demographic. What do they do? Behaviors. And why do they do it? Psychographics. Facebook and Google have revolutionized this process of identifying your audience. We talk a lot about millennials, and what you find is a lot of times we use broad brush descriptions. Millennials are often hip-ennials. We're really thinking about the I can make the world a better place hip-ennial. But there are actually 6 different types of millennials, and the millennial mom mom and the old school millennial taken together, the tech fearful old school millennial and the mom actually are larger than the population of hippennials. So a lot of us have a misconception about who millennials are. And when you actually do the research, do the work, and segment your audience, you actually will find that this is true about your customers as well. And you need to really understand your customer, and most businesses, small businesses, don't. Once you have segmented your audience, you then need to target a segment of the audience, a specific group of the audience that's going to get you the best result. And here you want to look for what's known as the Goldilocks principle. You want to be specific, but not too specific so that they're too small an audience. You want to be not too broad so that you're advertising to a dissolute group of people. You want to really find someone that's narrow. And so we use this example, which is, imagine you own a golf retail store and you're trying to think about what interests to target. A lot of people who own a golf store would say, oh, let's target anybody who likes Tiger Woods or the PGA. The problem is that Tiger Woods is way too broad. There are lots of people who follow Tiger Woods who, sadly was in a car accident this week, and I hope for a fast recovery for him. But, Tiger is somebody that I don't play golf, but I'm following, right? And so the fact that I'm interested in Tiger Woods, that I read an article about Tiger Woods, doesn't mean I'm a good prospect to buy a golf club or golf balls. So if you target people who've shown an interest on Facebook in Tiger Woods, you're wasting a lot of money. A much better campaign would be to target Bubba Watson. And if you're like me, you're like, who? Who is Bubba Watson? Well, for golf enthusiasts, he's the best left-handed shot maker in the history of golf. But for other normal people who don't play golf, they have no idea who he is. And so this creates what we call the but no one else would trick, which is a golf enthusiast would know who Bubba Watson is, but no one else would. So if you're looking to kind of target your ideal audience online, using this trick, this but no one else would trick, is a great way for you to identify the criteria by which you can use to find your ideal customer online. So in the case of Raphael and Ascendant Studios, their ideal customer persona is the dance mom. And these are the things that concern the dance mom and are how to find the dance mom online. Next is an offer. So you've figured out what your objective is. You've figured out who your audience is. Now you need to come up with an irresistible offer. And the pointy-headed professors of marketing will say that the definition of marketing is a process to obtain what you want by creating, offering, and exchanging products of value. The offer is the core. It's essential to marketing. And when we talk about an offer, we really think about an incentive to get customers and prospects to stay in touch and make a purchase. And your marketing must answer the questions, what are you offering me? How much? What's in it for me? And why should I believe you? And if you don't have an offer that answers these questions, the sale will not close. There's a great concept that I love, which is called the irresistible offer. That's an offer that's so good, you'd be a fool to pass it up. There's a whole book by Mark Joyner about the topic. BizHack's irresistible offer is that we have a course that pays for itself. When people take our course, they make more money and they pay off the tuition often before graduation day. If you want to raise awareness about your product or your business, often it requires a free irresistible offer. The idea is that you want to inspire a prospect to share their contact information. So if you were to put a price on this offer, would someone pay me for it? I'm going to give you guys some examples of free irresistible offers. Those could be a discount, a gift, a white paper, a quiz or survey, a live event or webinar, a recorded lesson. This is a free irresistible offer as well. You guys have come here. I'm giving this free of charge. It's a community service. I'm hoping you're getting value out of it. And some of you will potentially apply to be in our program. We'll stay in touch and join our BizHack Live. We'll become part of our community. And so this is our free irresistible offer, is free, high quality information that makes you want more. There are different offers for different stages. There's the irresistible offer, that free irresistible offer that you start with. We call it the foot in the door offer, which is like once you've expressed interest, how do we get you to actually make your first purchase? Then there's the upsell offer, in which you're actually trying to take an existing customer and have them buy again. And for the free irresistible offer for Ascendant Studios was a mini dance camp for free, move with the minions. It was a great concept, leveraging the minions' popularity and a free class. Who's going to turn that down? Now, the vernacular of online is video. And the thumb stopping video means that when you're scrolling on your mobile phone on Facebook, Facebook, almost everyone consumes Facebook using their mobile phone, and they're scrolling down it. And then when they see something that interests them, they stop. That's a thumb stopping video. And so you want to make sure that your video, which is going to be more effective than a still image in most cases, is thumb stopping. It gets people to stop, pay attention, and look. Now, these videos that you use in ads are much shorter than what you're probably imagining. They're often as short as 12 seconds. We don't recommend you hire a videographer for these. Your aim should be to get a video and put it together in 30 minutes or less, and to try stuff out with this video and test different videos. Now, how do you create a video in under 30 seconds? Well, we have a number of tech tools that you can use that allow you to essentially create a little, basically like a slideshow, but it is a video. So an example of a slideshow creator is Lumen 5. It's free for their demo version, and we highly recommend it. All of our students use it, lumen5.com. There's another great tool which I turn you into a graphic designer called Canva. And one of the things that Canva does is it allows you to build videos, simple, short videos in there as well. And then inside of Facebook itself, in their business manager, they have something called the video creation kit. And here you can see is the video creation kit for Facebook, where you can actually build a video directly inside of Facebook that you want to use in your ad. And you can see that they give you templates, and their recommendation is 6 to 15 seconds, 2 to 7 images. It's really short, just a few images with some text. It's not that hard to do. So here is the thumb stopping video, and then the compelling message, move with the minions, and the minions goggle giveaway. So the compelling message is really about how do you grab people's attention with a few words of text. People's attention is just getting pulled in so many different directions, and you need to be where they are and relevant to them. And so the compelling message is a way for you to help your user discover relevant content and help them with their needs. Finally, the call to action. The call to action is that little button that kicks them to the next stage in their journey. So the call to action is often like learn more or sign up or register now. It's a little piece of text, but it's probably the single most important text in all of marketing. And I love the call to action idea because your marketing should be about motivating people to do something. And that something is to go to your landing page, to go to your website, to email you back, to take your test, to download your ebook, to visit your store, to make your purchase, to tell a friend. Those are examples of calls to action. And this whole process, these 6 pillars, really is a cycle because you started, remember, with your campaign objective, and you're ending now with your call to action. What is it that you want them to do to continue their journey with you? The call to action really helps highlight this idea that a Facebook ad alone is not going to actually lead to a purchase. Rather, it's the kicking off point of a journey that could include going to a web page, getting a thank you email, having them then visit your website, maybe search you on Google or Yelp, then finally making that purchase. So this is what we in marketing call the customer journey, and there can be many touch points on that journey. So as we said, a Facebook ad kicks off the journey and it ends with either a sale or a no thank you. And then what goes on in between is that messy middle, and every business should have some kind of perspective on what that ideal customer journey looks like. And then what happens after that first sale, the upsell can also be messy. There might be different products or services, and there might be a whole nother journey that they have to go through to get to them. No one ever said marketing is simple. We try to kind of boil it down to its essence, but it is a time-consuming process if you want to do it right. So if you want to get started in building your customer journey, you want to identify the individual touch points that an ideal customer would make before a purchase, and really map out all of the different interactions, whether it's visiting your website, opening an email, or filling out a form. And just document all of that, and then make sure that every step in that process is as smooth as possible for your user. So in this case, there were actually 2 calls to action. There was a sign up, which is the button. They also invited them to click and call. And then finally, to get this 6-pillar process and implement it for your company, there's a 9-step process to actually put it in place. It starts with creating defining your customer persona and building audiences. Then you create your video. Then you launch your first ad. Then you map out the customer journey. You determine a free irresistible offer. You analyze the results of that first ad. You then build a lead form or a landing page to collect leads. You launch a second ad for lead generation. And then you analyze and optimize the second ad. That 9-step process is what we work with our paid participants in the 9 classes, each class roughly corresponding to one of the steps in the process. This is the essence of digital marketing, and it's not simple. And oftentimes business owners, marketing professionals really need their hand held the first time that they run through this. But honestly, once you've done this and you've practiced this and you've gone through the 9-step process, it's much easier to then do it again or hire someone to do it for you. And it's much, much easier for you to then understand the work that's being done on your behalf, set it up against this process, and make sure that you're getting your money's worth for your marketing spend. So what were the results for Sendance Studios in doing this? Well, they followed our lead building system. They increased the fill rate from 60% the prior summer to 80%. They had enrollment up 50%. Their idle capacity in later summer was down 40%. 20% of people enrolled in 6 or more weeks. That was compared to just 9% the year before. And they doubled their revenue, 90% increase in revenue to nearly $40,000 from $20,000. These are the bottom line results that businesses that systematically go through our process, our system, very often get. The next steps are we do offer a scholarship for minority and women-owned businesses. I would strongly encourage you to apply. If you want to chat with me about the program or any other marketing challenges you might have, you can go to my Calendly link, calendly.com/bizhack/apply, and go ahead and schedule a meeting with me. I'm happy to chat with you, help you in whatever way I can. And then finally, every week on a Wednesday, we have a live webinar on some topic in digital marketing for businesses. And I would encourage you to join us for that. Those of you who, when you were registering, said that you wanted to stay informed about upcoming events, you will be getting emails about our BizHack Live. Those of you who opted out of that but still want to participate, check out bizhack.com and sign up. And I want to end with this parting thought, which is the term crisis in Chinese has 2 characters, one that represents danger and the other that represents opportunity. In this time of COVID, all of us are very aware of the danger. People are dying. We just eclipsed 500,000, which is just an ungodly number. Many small businesses are dying as well. Well more than 100,000 small businesses have closed permanently due to this pandemic. For those of us still standing, there is also opportunity. And in a crisis, we all are focused on the danger. We're not always as focused on the opportunity to serve people, to do good, to make the world a better place, to help people through COVID. I know personally with BizHack, I'm on fire right now. I'm on a mission to make sure that every business that can survive does survive. And we are working with hundreds of small business owners to make sure that you can survive and thrive despite the challenges of COVID-19. And so my message to you as we wrap up is please grasp the opportunity. I hope to see you guys. I hope many of you apply for a scholarship. Would love to have you. I hope to also see you at our weekly BizHack Lives. Thank you so much, Marietta College, for this opportunity to present to your audience. And I applaud you in your entrepreneurial workshop.